Hi everyone, I'm Sultana Jones and I've been reading from my book, The Diary of Leeann, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up from where I left off and let's see how it goes. We pulled up to the dirt driveway which seemed a mile away from the house. The land was overgrown with tall grass, weeds, and ivy everywhere. I could see old willow trees and some maple and oaks that were old enough and probably could tell us some stories. The house was large, with what used to be white pillars, but now a peeling gray, exposing the wood underneath. Vines wrapped around the pillars and around the rails of the porch, giving the house a sad and lonely look. The steps into the house were starting to fall apart, making our entry a little unsure. John took hold of my hand and steadied me and reassures me that the realtor said it needed some work and that it was a strong, well-built house. There was a sort of eerie excitement growing between us as we approached our new home. It was like walking into our past and our future at the same time. The door creaked as we walked into the foyer. The air was stale and smelt of dust. There were spider webs everywhere, of which we were desperately wiping off of our faces. A grand old staircase greeted us, full of dust that hid the beauty of hand-carved flower railings. We walked into a great big room with a beautiful stone fireplace and wooden floors. It wasn't until after much cleaning that we found out had little yellow flowers painted around the border of the room. Then to the right of the front door was what looked like a dining room. Dodging the broken chandelier that hung in the middle of the room, we went through the door that led to the kitchen. Some of the cupboards were open and the glass panes were either falling apart or very dirty, and there was the wood stove Great Aunt Sarah would talk about, sitting near the front wall. I've never used one before, but it looks easy enough. Joined to the kitchen was another room, covered in dust with plenty of shelves and all the makings of a pantry. I could almost hear the sound of busy hands working in the kitchen, cleaning and storing jars. It seemed as if there were rooms everywhere. There were 3 rooms in the back, off of the kitchen area, and the room across from the reading room must have been a library because of the many shelves. We walked past the grand stairwell and down a wonderful hallway, which must have had paintings hung up all over. Just imagine how many feet must have walked these hallways. Each step sang in harmony as we made our ascent upstairs. John was the first to fall in love with the 2 little rooms. I noticed on the floor of the bathroom that was nestled between the 2 rooms had on it the same little yellow flowers. But the master bedroom stole our hearts. Large windows were everywhere, which opened up to a beautiful balcony. We just stood there for a few seconds without a word. And then John, he scooped me up in his arms and twirled me around. The balcony was very sturdy and overlooked the little garden area. The view was breathtaking. It was getting late and we needed to get settled in before dark. Our eagerness to see the place, we had arrived before the movers. Note to self, never outbeat the movers. They carry the beds. So, we made a pallet on the floor by the window in the great room. Sleep was difficult due to the song of the tree frogs and the gentle reply from the crickets. It was the warm southern breeze that gently caressed us to sleep. I was up early. I know why they call it hardwood floors. Ooh. I gathered some wood for the stove and made some slightly burnt biscuits and some very strong coffee and eggs. John looked at the tasty dish, the smoke in the air, and his soot-covered wife and broke into laughter. I responded by leaping on him, smearing him with soot, and in the middle of our mess, there was a knock on the door. John staggered to the door, desperately wiping off the soot. We were a sight to be seen. It was the movers. Yay! They had finally come. 2 big trucks lined the driveway, waiting for instructions to move ahead. 6 strong men jumped out of the trucks, and 4 hours later, they were done. Exhausted and sweaty, they climbed back into their trucks and were gone. Boxes sat all over the place, almost every room, and the once sad look of the house had given way to life. In the days to come, John and I worked hard fixing and replacing things around the house, and of course we finally hired folks to come in to paint and repair and restore the rest. While the men worked, I unpacked. That's where I served best. I spent all week unpacking and putting items in their place, going to little antique shops and for this little thing and that little thing to make the house appear old. It was old, but to appear old. I built up a pile of items to take up to the attic. I had saved for last, considering how many steps we had to climb to get there. The attic stairs were a little narrower, yet it opened up to one big room. There were windows here and there, but it was still pretty warm, and I sat down to take a break. It was then that I spotted something I will never forget. Well, I will come back and read a little bit more for you of my book, The Diary of Leeann Little. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. This is Sultana Jones. Bye-bye.